everybody. I have a great home yoga flow today, so I hope you are ready. This is going to work our entire body, stretch our entire body, work on mobility. So let's go right into it. Big breath up. We're going to stretch side to side. So lean one way and then come up and start leaning the others. Trying to get a nice flow through your movement so when you reach that bottom portion of the stretch, you start gently coming back up. Just a couple more times here. Good job, one more. And then we're going to cactus the arms. So we're going to bring the elbows back, chest toward the ceiling, mini back bend, stretch up. Breathing through the motion. Good job. And up. Excellent. We're going to come into a forward fold, so let your arms come wide. Full forward fold. Just as low as your body says yes to. So if you need that bend, take the bend through the knees. Working more on the flat back here as we come into the stretch. And we're going to grab our elbows for ragdoll, and we're just going to kind of sway back and forth. Breathing through it. Flat back, neck is neutral, hip bones are slightly tilted up to elongate the hamstrings. Good job, come all the way down, and we're going to come into our plank. So we're just going to hold here for a few breaths. Back is flat, so if your belly's falling down, you can fix that by tucking the hip bones toward the lowest ribs. Breathe. 2 more deep breaths. 1 more deep breath. And we're going to come into a side plank. So you can modify this by putting that bottom knee down, and you can add a little float of that back leg if you want to activate these upper abs. Or you can come into the full version with the knee lifted, looking toward the ceiling or toward your thumb. Breathe. Good job. We're going to take this top hand and we're going to reach toward the back ankle. Hips go up and lift. Let's do that again. Excellent. 1 more time. And lift. Good job. We're going to take it to the other side. So just rocking. And again, you can have this knee down and lift. And we're still going to take it toward the back ankle. When we do that, we'll put that bottom foot down, reach, and lift. Okay. Breathe. We're just going to hold first. Looking toward that thumb. And then we're going to reach toward that back ankle and lift, reach, letting the hips come up and lift and reach and lift. Come back to your plank. We're going to slow chaturanga. Hover at the bottom. When you're ready, go to your up dog onto the tops of the toes. Breathe. You can look up or straight ahead, your choice. And go into down dog. And you can kind of stretch into it a little bit here. Sway, feel if there's a spot where it really gives you a great stretch. And if your heels are off the ground, don't worry about it too much. Just bring them to wherever they go. Excellent. Breathe. We're going to look forward and we're gonna step or hop our feet forward. Drop our hips into Malasana and raise the arms. Whoop. If you lose balance like I do, don't worry about it, it happens. Breathe. And step back. Chaturanga, nice and slow. Going straight to up dog when you are ready. Breathe. And rock back through the toes. Down dog. Good job. One more deep breath. And you can step or hop both feet forward. We're going to reach again. So nice Malasana, back lifts, arms lift. Breathe. Doing wonderfully. Good job, guys. Hands come down, step back to your plank. Last one. We're going to slow chaturanga. Press forward to up dog. Come into our down dog. Breathe. Finding a nice stretch here. Hip bones lifting toward the ceiling to really stretch the backs of those legs. Look forward, step or hop into Malasana, adding that stretch of the arms. Hands come inside of the knees, lifting through the back, neck neutral. And then we're going to find our balance on our butts for boat pose. So find that balance, hold, breathe. Okay, we're going to keep this bend of the knees first. And we're just going to tap the toes down toward the mat. Slow lift up, focusing on activating those muscles low in your belly and deep in your belly. And tap. Beautiful. Tap. Breathe. Tap. And hold. Good job, guys. Toes are going to reach toward the sky. Hold. And back. Now we are going to rock the boat. So stretch back. Belly pulls in and lift. Breathe. Stretch back. Belly pulls in and lift. Again, you can do this. Stretch back, belly pulls in and lift. Repeat. Belly pulls in and lift. We're going to go into a reverse tabletop. So hands press into the ground, fingers pointing toward your heels if you can. If you need to turn them out, that's fine, because that has more to do with your shoulder mobility than anything else. And hips are going to press high. So knees are approximately above your ankles. So if they're like in here, you can step them out. Breathe. Hips press an inch higher. And you can let your head come back if that's more comfortable for you. Excellent. Keep breathing. And all the way down. Good job, guys. Hands to your heart. We're going to come back to standing. And we're going to start with our right leg stretching back for warrior 3. So, flat back is the key component here. We don't want to be like this. Okay? So, however, you have to keep your back flat, hinge at the hips, and let that back heel float up. Pinky toe pointing toward the mat. Hands can stay at your heart or stretch forward. Breathe. into the knee, touch the floor, and we're going to press that heel up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to open the hip out to the side. So toes turn out to the side wall or the side of wherever you are. And we're going to lift a little bit higher. So however high that leg can go now. And we're going to again do some little pulses. Pulse, pulse, nice and controlled motion. 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's turn that knee back down. Find that flat back, a little challenging for the balance. So coming back through our warrior 3 and all the way up. Good job. We're going to do the same thing other side. So few little bends through those knees. Letting your breathing, your heart rate come back to normal. If you feel at all dizzy from that transition, that bending of the knees can help you to feel good again. So here we go. Hands at our heart to start. Your other leg's going to go back. And again, focusing on the flat back and the hinge at the hips. So not bending into it and just lifting the leg, but instead keeping the upper body straight, hinging right here, and letting that leg float up behind you. Good job. Hold. You can add the arms forward if you would like. Breathe. Excellent. Another deep breath. And then we're going to forward fold. Good. And little pulses. 1. Nice, slow and controlled. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to turn that hip open to the side, toes turned out to the side. Same thing, you might be able to lift a little higher. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow it down. 5. Good job. Toes turned down. Chest lifts. Hands come to your heart through your warrior 3 pose. And lift. Good job. Breathe. Little bends. Letting your heart rate come back to normal if it's a little elevated. And we're going to go straight into chair pose next. So hips are going to press back. Arms are going to reach. Good job, guys. Breathe. And we're going to stretch back, lifting the toes, and then come forward onto the toes. Hold and breathe. And back, lifting, and forward, lifting the heels, shifting that weight into the toes. Breathe. One more time, you can do this. And back, and forward. All the way down, forward fold. Flat back. And you can have a little bend in the knees for this. Just think about those hip bones lifting and this being flat. So not, bent through here. Backs of the hamstrings are long. And forward fold. Good job, guys. We're going to come up, take pyramid pose. So we'll take a right foot forward first. Both feet are pointed in the same direction. We'll start with hands at our heart and come down through flat back. So feeling a lot of stretch through this front leg most likely. And then we're going to lean all the way into it. Excellent job. Breathe. Back heel is going to lift. We're just going to release into this for a breath or two. Back heel comes down, front toes lift. If your body says yes. Breathe. come down. Good job. We're going to come into a runner's lunge on this side. Excellent. Pressing into the hips. And we're going to do half split next. So hips come back over the back knee, front leg straightens and come down. And you can have toes pointing toward the mat or lift it up or even alternate between both. You're going to feel it change the dynamic of the stretch through the back of the leg. Okay, we're going to bend into that leg and we're going to do a little switch of sides. So just turn to the other direction. So I just put that front knee down, back knee up, and then we're going to stand up so we can take pyramid on the other side. So from here, both toes are pointed in, both feet rather are pointed in the same direction. Back is flat as we first come into this stretch. Hands can be at your heart, they can reach down if that's more comfortable. And then we're going to forward fold. Breathe. And again, we're just going to release into here. So for a few breaths, on the inhale, relax. On the exhale, work on deepening that stretch. Don't push it into pain, but feel the stretch. Whatever that means to you. Breathe. Back heel lifts. And lowers. Front toes lift. Good job. And lowers. Wonderful. Now we're going to come into that runner's lunge stretch. So just pressing into that hip so you feel the stretch through the front of the hip flexor, maybe a little bit through the quad. If you don't feel anything, if you have super mobile hips, you might want to come up a little bit, tuck the ribs toward those low ribs, and then stretch into it so you feel a little stretch there. Breathe. And front leg straightens, forward fold. And again, toes can be down, toes can lift, really whatever you prefer, what feels good for your stretch. You can even alternate, just go nice and slow. Good job. We're going to come into a wide leg seated stretch. So just put legs however wide they go. We're going to sit really, really tall. So taller than you probably sit in your everyday life. Head stacked over shoulders, shoulders stacked over hips. So if you're leaning forward, we're not there yet. We're just sitting straight up. Good job. Okay, we're going to turn our body toward one leg and stretch out over it, reaching for toward the feet. Maybe you touch the calves, maybe you're up higher. It doesn't matter. As long as you feel the stretch, it is working for your body. Breathe. And we're going to take it into a side stretch. So side of the body comes long next to that leg, stretch up and over. And again, you might be up higher, doesn't matter. As long as you feel the stretch for your body, looking up toward the ceiling, that helps keep the stretch on the side as opposed to letting you roll forward. So looking up, stretching over, breathe. Okay, using the strength of the side body, we're going to reach up, come all the way up, twist toward the other leg, and forward fold. So again, wherever the stretch feels right to you, on the inhale, relax. On the exhale, deepen your stretch. Doing great. Think about lengthening the crown of your head toward your feet. And then we are going to rotate so the side of our body is in line with the leg, stretch up and over. And again, looking toward the ceiling, trying to keep the stretch through the side of the body instead of letting yourself rotate forward. Breathe. Good job, guys. Keep going. This is such a good release for the low back too. You know, we think about it in our legs, but you're really getting that lumbar area of your back with this stretch. And lifting through that top arm, come up, walk the fingertips forward, imagining you can lay your belly flat on the floor like a pancake. Maybe you can. Breathe. And again, thinking about lengthening forward. So we're not just coming down to like touch our head toward the ground. We're thinking about making our head and neck and back and spine long. So we're stretching it forward. Like we could touch our fingertips with our head. You're not going to be able to, but that imagery can help you to keep that length through the spine and the back. Breathe. Good job, guys. Come all the way up. Excellent. We're going to turn onto, lay on our backs. Hands can come to the sides. They can come behind your head if that's more comfortable. And we are going to take the hips, or take the feet toward the hips. And then we are just going to gently tilt the hip bones toward the low ribs. So it's a really tiny movement. You might not even be able to see it on camera, but you want to just activate those deep core muscles and release, tilt, and release. So building stability in those muscles that we use for everything, for our balance, for our posture. And release one more time. Tilt and release. Okay, this time we're going to come up into our half wheel or a bridge pose. So roll up one vertebrae at a time. Hands can come down and shoulder blades can walk in underneath you. Clasp your hands as you come into your bridge pose, or your half wheel pose rather. Breathe, hips high. Hold. Good job, guys. And then we are going to lift the heels, press an inch higher through those hips. Separate the shoulder blades, lower the heels, and come down one vertebrae at a time. So working back down through the spine. Good job. Until your hips come down and your back goes back up to neutral. Okay, from here, we're going to take the hands to our heart. We're going to do 3 rocks. So knees to chest. 1, 2. On the third one, we're going to try and stand up. Good job. Breathe here. And we're going to come into goddess pose. So feet turn out at an angle. Knees are going to bend. Chest is going to stay upright. So trying not to lean forward and trying not to stick your butt back. You're going to tuck that tailbone under. Get the thighs as close to parallel to the floor as they will go today. Breathe. Excellent. Stay there. We're going to add the cactus of the arms. So shoulder blades are gently squeezing together. Elbows are in line with the shoulders, so not hanging out down here, keeping them lifted. Breathe. Come an inch lower. Excellent. Doing wonderfully. Just breathe through it. If you need to come up at any point, straighten the legs, you can. Just come back into it when you're ready. Little lower. So as it gets harder, we tend to kind of inch our way up. Try and stay low. Shoulders above the hips. Knees pressing open. One more deep breath here. And all the way up. Toes are going to turn forward. We're going to sink the hips toward one side, we'll start with our foot flat actually on this side. So deep, kind of like a side lunge to come into this. And then we're going to turn those toes up and sink into it a little bit more. Breathe. Excellent. Doing good, keeping that stretch. And it's okay if you're higher up, if you might be here or even a little higher, that's totally fine. Come up, and we're going to take it to the other side. So deep stretch, reaching the hips toward the other foot. And we'll start with this foot flat down. Breathe. Excellent. And then we're going to rotate that foot up, and you might be able to sink a little bit deeper when you do that. Good job. Breathe. Wonderful. And come all the way up. We're going to turn toward one side of our mat. We'll keep the back foot perpendicular to the front foot. Hips are going to open to the side edge of the mat, and we're going to come into warrior two. So bend into that front knee. Arms are going to reach. Eyes are looking over the middle finger. So you're not letting this knee collapse in. It's in line with the toes. Breathe and hold. We're going to add some lifts of the front heel in just another breath. Front heel lifts, sink into the hips, and lower. Good job. Front heel lifts, and lowers. One more time. Front heel lifts, and lowers. Keep it low. We're going to reverse our warrior. So front palm turns up. Back hand can either reach down the leg or behind your back. And stretch into it. Trying not to straighten through that front leg. Keep the bend. Breathe. Excellent. Warrior two. We're going to go into side angle pose. So this front elbow's going to come down. Top arm is going to reach up. Breathe, and we're not collapsing into these low ribs, so we're making space between the low ribs and the thighs, and imagining we can rotate these forward toward the ceiling. Breathe. Good job. We're going to twist it, so this top hand's going to come down to the inside of the foot, and we are going to look up. Breathe. Good job. Unwind. Top arm comes up. From those arm fingers, we're going to lift into warrior two. Two more deep breaths. One more deep breath. and straighten. We're going to take it to the other side. So other foot turns out, back foot is perpendicular to the front foot. These hips are going to open to the side. And with that, we will add the bend of the front knee, looking out over that middle finger. Hold and breathe. Good job. Focusing on the breath. In the next breath, we're going to add that lift of the front heel. And lift. And lower. And lift. And lower. One more time. Lift. And lower. Front palm turns up. We're going to reverse the warrior. Again, stretching down the back leg, or this hand can reach around your back. Whatever's comfortable for you. Staying low in that front thigh. Breathing into it. Front elbows can come down for that side angle pose. Looking up toward the thumb or toward the ceiling. And again, we're not leaning into that thigh. We're keeping space between the ribs and the thigh. And we're rotating those low ribs forward like they're reaching up toward the ceiling. And if it gets difficult, try and focus on the breath. You can take child's pose at any time and then just come back to the flow. And this top hand is going to reach down, rotating toward that front thigh and looking again up toward the thumb. Nice breaths. And unwind, top fingers lift, warrior two for just a couple breaths. One more deep breath. And straighten. Feet turn forward. And we're going to wide leg forward fold. Breathe. And then we're going to toe heel out a little bit to deepen this center stretch. However far feels good to you. So you might be at that place already. That's fine. Hold. And then we're going to rotate the toes up to the ceiling. And if your body says yes, you can go a tiny bit deeper into the stretch. If your body says no, listen to it. Don't force anything. And release, toe heeling in all the way to Malasana. Breathe. From here, we're going to go into our crow or our crow prep, your choice. I'm going to turn sideways just so you guys can see. So if you're doing the crow prep, palms press into the mat, and you're just going to start shifting that weight forward, okay? So both feet can stay on the floor. You're just getting used to putting your weight in your hands. And if you're ready for the next step, you can lift one foot. Nice weight shift into the hands, come down, shift, and lift the other foot. Okay? If you feel like you have the strength and the balance today, you can go into full crow, lifting both feet when you find that balance point and holding. Breathe. You can come in and out of this a couple times if you would like. Excellent. And when you are ready, coming back into Malasana. Breathe. Good job. And we are going to take our knees away from our elbows, so opening, using the muscles of the thighs and the glutes to make space there. Hold. One more breath. And release. Good job. We're going to do that one more time. So just hold in your Malasana though for a breath, feeling that nice, gentle, like passive stretch. And then we're going to activate the muscles by making space between the knees and the elbows. Breathe. And release it all the way down. So for this next stretch, we are going to turn this way. Take both knees to 90-degree angles. Okay, so one is straight sideways from your hip, one is straight forward from your hip. One shin is parallel to the side of your mat, the other to the front of your mat. Breathe. Okay, and we're just going to rotate. So you can take your hands to your heart, and we're just going to switch. I've said this before, but for some people this is a really easy motion. For others, you find that maybe there's some limits to the mobility of the hips, and that's fine. It just takes practice to gain more mobility and more range of motion. Breathe. So we're working really hard in yoga to not be judging what we can do against anybody else. It's just being aware of what you can do and working on that. One more time each direction. And other side. Good job. And we're going to transition into plank pose before we come into our pigeon pose. So I'm going to start with my right foot forward. We're going to pull the right knee into the chest, flex the foot, that part's really important, and then set it down. Okay? Once you're here, you can walk that back knee back to wherever is comfortable. If you have more mobility in your hips, your front shin might be parallel to the hips, or it might be kind of like mine is, closer to the hip bones. And then we are going to sink forward into it. You can lay your head down on the mat. You can let your belly relax to the mat. I'm feeling a little bit tighter today, so I'm just going to release into it right here. So thinking about, again, not rounding the head down, not rounding the back, but lengthening the back forward as you come into this stretch. Nice, long, neutral spine, neutral neck. Breathe. Come up. Good job. And then if you would like to add this next part, pulling the heel toward the hip, you can pull it in with one or both hands, your choice. Nice deep stretch for the quad, the front of the thigh, the hip flexor. And then we'll pull that leg away from us like we do in dancer pose and release. We'll come back through our plank pose. Breathe. And then we're going to take our other foot forward. So left knee to the chest, flex the foot, set it down. And again, from here, if you need to walk that back leg back to deepen the stretch, you can. Starting upright, we're going to lean forward. So one thing I do want you to check is your hips. If you're kind of falling to the side, square the hips so the weight is even between both legs. And then come forward. Again, not focusing on just forcing the body toward the ground, but lengthening the spine and then relaxing down. I have a little more mobility on this leg today, so I can come a little lower. Maybe you do too, or maybe it's the opposite for you. Maybe you feel a little tighter on the side. Or equal. Breathe. Good job. Stretching into it, letting that hip release and stretch. coming up. You can stay right here if you want, or you can add the bend of that back leg, and you can grab with one or both hands, whatever feels good to you. Breathe. And when you're ready, kick into the leg, or kick into the hand like you do in Dancer. And then we're going to release, press the toes into the mat, find your plank. Breathe. We're going to lift straight up into down dog. And we're going to do down dog split. So right leg is going to lift. Let's shift the left foot kind of more to center first. And then right leg lifts. Breathe. Lift that heel an inch higher toward the ceiling if you can. And then we're going to open the hip. So we're going to bend at the knee, open the hip, look under that armpit, see if you can find the foot, and do some circles with just a foot to start, and then other direction. Okay, and now we're going to circle the knee. So we're going to bring it close to the knee and up. You might be a little creaky. So making just really big circles with that knee, just working on that hip mobility. One more. And release it down, down dog. Looking either between the ankles or toward the belly button, your choice. And then we're going to down dog split on the other side. So right foot comes to center, left leg lifts, hold. And then we're going to lift that heel an inch higher. And then we're going to bend, looking under the arm and doing circles of just that ankle. And switch directions. And then we're going to do those big circles with the knee. So in toward the knee, up and around, like you're drawing a giant circle. Breathe. Good job. Almost there. One more. And down dog. Breathe. Excellent. Coming down to the knees. Lifting all the way up. Let yourself sit back onto the heels and breathe. Excellent. Hands press into the mat. We're going to do a cat bow. So chest, elbows bend, chest comes to the floor, then through the gate of the arms, up. And then we're going to reverse it to child's pose. Knees wide, relaxing. Taking your time here, letting the chest release, letting the fingers press forward. Good job. And then we're going to come all the way forward, laying down to Sphinx pose, elbows on the mat. Chest is going to reach forward. Good job. Chin is parallel with the floor. Excellent. We're going to walk the hands under the shoulders. We're going to activate those core muscles and just lift the hands, trying to keep that lift, lifting the legs, and then reaching back, or locust pose. Hold. Make space between your thighs and the mat and your chest and the mat. Nice deep breaths here. And release. Good job, guys. Breathe. Lovely. And we are going to roll onto our side and come into a side kneeling position. Top leg floating and hold. So this is a modified side plank. You can do this for any of the side planks that we do. Breathe, looking up toward the thumb. Good job. And we're going to add a stretch forward of that leg. So hold, you're going to feel a lot of activation through the core, maybe through that bottom portion of the hip. And back. Good job. Come through center. And other side. Kneel. That leg's going to come out. And lift. And bring that leg forward. Hold. Back. All the way up. Good job, guys. We're going to lay back on the mat now for our ending stretch. So arms can stay down here to start. We're going to start with our hips about hip distance apart, and we're going to rotate them to one side. I like to put my hands on my hips just to kind of feel like the mobility there happening. And then other side. And neutral, we're going to take happy baby. So we're going to grab the feet. So we're trying not to just let the hips come up. We're going to let the hips and the tailbone kind of reach toward the mat. Knees toward the outside of the ribs. And we're going to let them stretch in. Bottoms of the feet stretching up toward the ceiling. Grabbing the toes. And if you've been around babies, you've probably seen them do this. Good job, guys. Right foot is going to cross over the left, and we're going to grab the outside edges of the feet and pull them in toward the hips. So we do this pose sometimes in seated, but it's good to do in supine, lying with your head toward facing the ceiling, because it takes that mobility out of your back. Okay, so our back is neutral when we're lying down like this. Breathe. And then we're going to rotate the other way. Grab the outside edges of the feet and pull them in toward the hips. Okay, when we release the feet, we're going to take the feet into like a butterfly position. So again, depending on your mobility, your knees might be touching the floor right now. They might be, closer to pointing toward the ceiling. Doesn't really matter. We're just working on feeling a little mobility through those inner thighs, through the groin. Okay, and we're going to use the muscles to push the knees gently toward the floor. Breathe. And it might not feel like a big movement. That's okay, as long as you feel those muscles activating. And release. Push. And release. Last one. Push. And release. Okay, left leg is going to go long. Right knee pulls into our chest. And we're going to let that knee drop out to the side. And then back to neutral. We're going to pretend we could touch it to our opposite shoulder, just for a little deep outside of the hip stretch here. And unwind. This leg goes straight. We're going to pull it in. If this bottom leg starts to bend up like mine wants to do, push it toward the mat. We're going to activate those deep belly muscles and then lift nose toward the knee, pulling that leg an inch closer if you can. Breathe, and we're going to release the head down. Still holding that leg pulled in. You might notice like a little shaking through your leg. That's okay, as long as you're not hurting yourself. And then bend the knee in, bring it across your body. So again, you're not forcing anything, you're just letting that knee stretch down. And then hugging the knee in. And stretching it long. Feel how nice and long that side of your body feels. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So knee pulls into the chest. Just breathing here. And then we're going to let it come out to the side. Good job, guys. Knee comes in. We're going to bring it toward the opposite shoulder. And then neutral. Lifting that leg toward the ceiling and pulling it in. Just hold it there. And if this bottom leg tries to bend up, just set it down. We're going to pull the belly in, lift the nose toward the knee, and then pull that leg an inch closer toward you if you can. Hold for a breath. And then set that head down, keeping the leg pulled in where it is. If you need a bend, that's fine. Listen to your body. We're not forcing anything. We're just kind of learning what our body needs. And bend the knee in. Bring it across the body. Both shoulders stay on the mat. Knee is dropping toward the floor, and just stay here and breathe. Good job, guys. Hug that knee back into your chest. And leg goes long. Come into Shavasana. Feet relax out to the sides. Palms turn up toward the ceiling and just find your comfortable position. Let the ground support your body. And just breathe. When you're ready, roll onto your right side and stay there for a breath or two. And then come to a seated position. Okay, everyone, I want to thank you for doing yoga with me today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that this home practice worked well for you. I will post a link to a meditation for you to also do today. So don't skip the meditation. It is so beneficial. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the flow, and I will see you next time. Bye.